What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Crafters Live. I'm David Wilson, and we're back again with there we go, there's a screen. Another Friday stream where we get together as a community. How long is it? 20 minutes late this time? Sorry, I'll explain myself in a minute. And talk about whatever topic that I've come up with for the day, and this week is no exception because I'm also late again. So it's definitely not an exception. Sorry, I have something on the other screen here. Benoit says you're actually on time. I'm not really on time. I'm actually like 10 minutes late compared to usual because, 20 minutes is DPX's pipewire. And there wasn't a pipewire issue. It's a framework issue. Framework to laptop issue. So it's reeling it back in. It's been a long day. A lot of things going on. Sort of unrelated to system crafting, unrelated to system crafters. There's just a lot of stuff happening, so it's certainly been an ordeal. So I've been doing a lot of work this week on the project for the Crafters Hour streams. If you've been paying attention to those, which maybe some of you have, maybe some of you haven't, we've been streaming on Mondays and Wednesdays to build an actual real-world Guile Scheme web application called emacsPackages.com. The idea behind the site is that it could be like a central place where you can go find information about all the available Emacs packages across the various ELPA, MELPA repositories, things like that. And of course, Guix and maybe Nix too at some point in the future. Just a fun project idea. It really isn't meant to be anything that big or important, but we have been spending a lot of time working on it, and we've made quite a lot of progress on the project across various different dimensions. And finally this week we actually managed to deploy the site to a cloud VM. So if you go to staging.emacsPackages.com, there's like an actual website that you can not log into, but you can just go look at it. It doesn't have anything in there yet because we haven't synced the database yet with the available package repositories, but you can see that the website is there, and it's got an SSL certificate and all the nice fancy things that you need for a website. And we did this with Guix. We actually deployed the site with Guix. So if you watch the stream recording from Wednesday, you'll see me go through the whole process of setting up the server configuration and then deploying it to the existing Guix VM that I already had running in the cloud because I had set it up like a year ago and hadn't used it yet. But you can sort of see what the process is for writing a Guile Scheme application or any application you want to host on a server using Guix, and then deploying it to that server with Guix, and also continually redeploying it as you make changes to the configuration. So I've been having a lot of fun working on that this week, and the stream today is kind of an extension of that, not really for emacsPackages.com, but just for the general idea of developing projects using Guix, and also potentially having your own CI server that will build your projects using Guix and then deploy them if they're like a website you needed to deploy to a server or something. So it should be pretty fun. We'll see how all that goes. I did spend a lot of time today trying to come up with the, let's say, ideal demonstration for today, which would be to deploy a staging version of the new systemcrafters.net website by making the System Crafters site repo into a channel, and some other things like that. But we didn't fully pan out because I ran into some issues with packaging the Emacs build of the site with Guix. We might try to tool around with that a little bit later, but I kind of feel like that's going to be not so straightforward to finish on the stream, but I might do it anyway just in case anybody has ideas. So we'll take a look at that in a minute, but we will use some form of real-world project to to demonstrate this, and I think it'll be fun. So just give me 1 second here. Mike says that Crafter Hours stream, this project seems very interesting. I'm bummed it takes place at 2:30 a.m. my time. Yes, definitely not extremely, you know, appropriate timing for everyone. That's unfortunate. So let me say hello to the people who are here so far. I've done a bunch of yapping, but not really said hello yet. So let's see. I see. And I'll probably miss some people because I see people joining, but they didn't say anything in the chat. So say something in the chat if you want me to greet you here. I see Gunn, Cal, Glenn, Eric, Ericy, Luis, Benoit, Amal, Trev, Purple G, which I think Purple G's name's Ben. I don't want to dox you. J Fred. I'm just trying to use people's first names just to show that I know people's first names. Probably shouldn't do that. Let me just stick to usernames. And then over on the YouTube side, I have Fikri, DPX, Jerry, Mike. Let's see, Bionic Babblefish, John, Mjolnir, and Minas Mazar, and Enrico, and Ed. Thank you all for being here today. Trev says, hi, Trev. Yes, I'm glad that you can see that Trev is here and you're greeting Trev. So let's see. Purple G says, this is a really cool idea. It's been fun. I've been enjoying it. I've had a lot of fun. And it's also been, I've learned a ton, actually. Like, I've been trying to work on a project, like a real web project with Guile and Guix for a while, and nothing really got off the ground until I sort of forced myself to do this. So it's been quite fulfilling for me to be able to get this going and to see some progress with it, because now we're getting to the more interesting parts of things, like, you know, being able to manage the database going forward after deploying changes to a website, or, you know, doing things like automatic redeployments and things of that nature. So we're getting into some real, like, you know, stuff you would do deploying an actual project and not just some, you know, example project. So news for today. Number one is that in a shock announcement, Emacs 30.1 has actually been released, which is surprising to me because it was only a week ago that they cut RC1. So they went from having a release candidate to shipping the whole thing in about a week, which seems unusual to me, unless it's just sort of like a matter of process for them, like they have to have an RC before they ship the stable release or something. I would have expected to see at least like a couple weeks between RC1 to stable if they had decided to do that, but okay, it's fine. I mean, it's cool that Emacs 30.1 is out. I've been using Emacs 30 for a long time because I use the Emacs Next package in Guix. So I've been using the sort of development version of it for quite a while. I don't really know, you know, like what's different. We might have to do a separate stream on that at some point soon. Big Edie says, Emacs 30.1 knocked me off my computer for a bit. So many problems. If I remember correctly, Big Edie uses EXWM, and I guess somehow Emacs 30 broke EXWM. So if you use EXWM, maybe you should be cautious when upgrading to Emacs 30, because it could cause trouble for you, unfortunately, as it seems. I'm not exactly sure how to explain that because I haven't used EXWM myself for quite a while, but I'm guessing there must be some explanation. All right, so let's see. Purple Juice says, I fortunately have not had any problems with 30.1. I use the Nix package version. Yabo, hey Yabo, says, I don't have many problems using crafted Emacs. Corfu acts up a bit. Rest of my config is fine. Interesting to see that Corfu has problems. But yeah, I don't really know exactly why that would be the case, unless it's something with the child window pop-ups type stuff. All right. I don't really know what else is going on in the world because I've been so like heads down in working on project stuff, plus other sort of random, you know, unrelated life issues this week. So if anybody has any news that they would like to report to the stream, you can let me know and I'll take a look at it. I've also heard there's been some, you know, relatively spicy conversations happening in development mailing lists this week, but I'm not really going to go look at that right now. Maybe some other time when I've read through them and had some time to digest what's been said and give my thoughts, but not today, not today. Yabo says, Corfu and Icebell don't like each other since 30.1. Haven't had the chance to look into it yet. Well, that's really interesting. All right. So the next thing is that in honor of the progress we've made on the Emacs packages project this week by being able to actually deploy the thing to a real server, I'm just randomly giving a discount on the hands-on Guile Scheme for Beginners course. It's a $50 discount if you are interested in taking that course. You can go to the website, systempreppers.net/learn-scheme. That sort of redirects to this link because it's easier to say and easier to type. But you can also find the link to that on the homepage of the System Preppers website. But go check out the information about the course here. It's an on-demand course, over 6 hours of video and exercises and all kinds of good stuff. It goes through fundamentals of scheme programming, the fundamentals of functional programming, and also practical programming in Guile Scheme, along with interactive development, debugging, using Emacs and Geyser, all kinds of stuff like that. So it's pretty comprehensive in terms of what it covers, and it will get you up speed pretty fast on writing scheme for practical projects. So if you would like to look into taking that course, it is $50 off until, let's say, end of Sunday, maybe early Monday. Just depends on when I kind of wake up and realize I should turn the discount back off. That's automatically applied. You don't need to have any discount code or anything. It's just already there. So check that out. Mike says, did you get a chance to see Steve's talk at Geek Social yesterday? I didn't know there was one, but I haven't really been following things. Another thing that happened this past week is that I broke my phone. And I didn't break it to the extent that it was completely unusable. It was partially usable. The back of the phone, which they glue on these days, you don't really have a phone that you can take the back off anymore because they want to make sure that you have to buy a new phone when anything goes wrong. The back of the phone became dislodged, and apparently the battery has been swelling as well because I probably dropped it one too many times. So I would have to keep squeezing the phone to make it turn on, and it would stay on for some amount of time. But then if the phone moved at all, the battery would become dislodged again, and then I would have to go through this whole process of like hitting the phone, basically slamming the phone with my hand and squeezing it until the battery would make contact again, and then maybe I would get a chance to use my phone if it didn't trigger like the whole like reflashing fast boot loop again. Anyway, that was a whole other issue. So if you're wondering why I haven't been so present on things like Mastodon or IRC, is because I haven't had access to my phone. So I've been using a backup phone and it doesn't have everything on it. Trev says, you threw it in anger? No, I probably just dropped it while doing something else. I don't know, like you just have your phone in your hand and it tends to fall, like it just starts, jumping and flipping in the air like a wet bar of soap or something. It just flies in the air and then lands and then gets busted. And Jayfred says, squeezing the phone with a swelling battery is a little terrifying. Yes, I was always thinking to myself, one of these times this thing's just gonna like catch on fire and I'll probably lose my hand. But luckily I got it to the repair shop in time before I managed to dismember myself. So maybe next week the phone will be fixed, but at least I have an old phone that I'm using in the meantime. So yeah, it's just like a whole series of problems. Ever since I moved to Greece, it just seems like every week there's something new, some new thing to be a huge distraction and just cause a whole lot of problems. John says, is anyone here going to is MWC in Barcelona this week? Is it the Mobile World Congress? Not sure exactly which conference that is. Jerry says, I'm glad it didn't burst into flames. Yeah, me too. Because that would have been a little bit shocking. Actually, it would be a little bit burning, but it would be shocking in terms of my reaction to it. 1 second. All right. Yes, Mobile World Conference. I haven't actually been to that before. I don't even remember what they talk about. Is that like an Apple thing? Or is it something else? Ed says, I have a Fairphone 3. Easy to repair and replace parts, especially batteries. I've been looking at those. They look pretty nice, actually. I would be interested in getting one, but I haven't really spent enough time researching it yet, because I've bought one of the Pine phones before, and Pine phone's pretty cool, but it's not really viable, I would say. All right, so let's get into it. Yeah, so PinePhone, not the greatest, but it's an interesting idea. But I think Fairphone is actually Android, right? So it would be more of a reasonable choice. All right, so what we're gonna do today is, let me just write down some bullet points on what it is, because that will help to set the context for everything, because I didn't actually have time. I've started putting together a server configuration for the one VM that's going to run a few of the different sites that we will be hosting. It is systemcrafters.net, emacspackages.com, and maybe some other things. Like I could even put like a Forgeo instance up or something else like that, and also a CI system. So I've got a few different things that I want to run on there, at least for now. I'm trying to sort of see what the best configuration would be for hosting multiple things in a single server. I might have to offload to another server, maybe for the CI part. We'll have to see about that as time goes on. But we're gonna have a single server for multiple sites. This server will also host a CI to run builds to auto-deploy on new changes, which is kind of weird because it will be auto-deploying to itself. I don't know how well that's going to work, but we'll see. Whenever you apply the Guix configuration again, it might turn off the CI service, and then you'll be stuck with a... well, Guix will complete its job, but the CI service might forget the job that it's running. So we'll have to see how that works, but hopefully it won't restart everything. But then we need to have webhooks from Codeberg to the CI server. This server using Laminar. I will talk about Laminar in a minute too. Laminar. And webhooks from Codeberg to the CI server should trigger Laminar jobs for the associated repo. All right. Now, what is Laminar? Laminar is a pretty cool project if you have not heard about it before. So Laminar is kind of it's a CI server solution. Now, if you don't know what CI is, CI stands for continuous integration. It's basically a tool that allows you to automatically rebuild the source of a project or projects whenever the source code changes in a Git repository. That's a very reductive way to say it, but that's generally how people use it. So you often want a CI server to rebuild the code for your project after you push new changes to the repository to make sure the code still builds, for one, and then also to potentially run tests on the code to verify that the code still works as expected. And then, in some cases, you might want it to automatically release an update to the software or publish the changes to GitHub releases, or even publish it or deploy it to a server, something like that. So it's a kind of a multi-purpose tool for automatically rebuilding and redeploying software. You will often see things like GitHub Actions used for this. On Codeberg, they've used something called Woodpecker CI, but I think they're moving on to Forgeo Actions, which is basically a clone of GitHub Actions. There's also like GitLab CI. There's other CI systems that have existed around in the past. But those all have like their own kind of YAML configuration for running jobs. They'll like run jobs with Docker containers. They'll do all kinds of fancy stuff to, like, you know, make those jobs share information. Laminar is kind of different in that it tries to go back to the basics and just run builds using scripts. So typically you have a job that is defined as a bash script, and that bash script could just do whatever it needs to do. Clone the repository, run make, and then any other tasks that are necessary from that. What we're gonna try to do today is set up Laminar with Guile for the job scripts. The interesting thing about that would be that we might be able to invent our own kind of reusable workflows using Guile to use across repositories and, you know, other things like that. There's various different reasons why that could be useful. Also, it will allow us to use Guix to build everything because we're just running scripts on the same server as the CI system, and that server uses Guix, so we can use Guix for the actual build process. So that has its own benefits, like isolation of the builds from the system itself, and various things along those lines. Errorism asks a good question in the chat. Why not use Curus like the Guix project uses? Well, I don't think you can do deployments with Curus. You can only do builds of like channels and packages. So that's one reason why I haven't chosen it. Also, Laminar seems just a little bit more generic, and you can do various different things with it. It seems a bit more lightweight in a way. Curus is fine. It looks great. I might try it. I know Peter has installed it on a system and uses it, but I don't know if it's going to be right for the things that I need to do. So I'll look into it again in the future, probably. So let's see. Let me take a look at what's going on in the IRC. Yabo says, can you increase the font size a bit? Let me just hit it one more time here. Is that better? What else? Nakatani says, I didn't know Greece had gravity. I thought that was USA only. Oh, mobile war driving competition. It's a massive telecoms conference. Well, that sounds awesome. I wish I was going to that. Eric says, my distraction this week was getting a Guix e-reader, full Android tablet internally. Actually didn't get Emacs to run, but Orgsley runs fine. That sounds cool. Let's see. Purple G says, I like Woodpecker. Yeah, I like Woodpecker too. It's actually been pretty good. Erky says, having to live with a Jenkins setup that has tons of classic jobs with bash scripts, this sounds like a nightmare from the outset. Interesting to see how Laminar approaches it. Yeah, we'll have to see. Bionic Babblefish says, Curious is interesting. Rumor has it you can even build other types of packages like Docker images. Never figured out how. Yeah, that would be nice. John says it's not actually about war driving, but you can be the change you wish to see in the world. Purple G says, Codeberg's Woodpecker CI builds my website. It's very fast. Yeah, it's been building systemcrafters.net for a couple years now, I think. Okay. Let me kill Gamma Step because my screen is just so dark right now that I can't see anymore. I'm pretty sure you can't see it on the screen on the stream, but I can see it, and it's annoying me. All right, so let's see. We're gonna look up the server configurations repo, systems main server. So this is the configuration we were working on this week for the server that's hosting the staging site for emacspackages.com. This is the place where we're going to also set up Laminar. So let me think for a second. Oh, yeah, okay. We'll get back to the webhook thing, and we'll see if we have time for that. So what you can see in here is that we have pulled in the Emacs packages service type, also Nginx and certbox service types. The next thing that we would need to do is pull in the Laminar service type. And I guess before I really get into that, I should probably just pull up the docs for Laminar, because we need to sort of remember, or I guess let's say be introduced to how we configure jobs here. So defining a job. To create a job that downloads and compiles GNU Hello, you got to put a file in a particular path. So var lib laminar config jobs hello.run. That's just a bash script that you chmod.x to make it executable, and then that can be run. So it knows what jobs are available just by names of the files that are in a folder. And this kind of feels weird to me, because by default, there is not a way for you to have a set of files or a file in your repository that drives the build process. That's very unlike other CI systems where you have like a YAML file in the repository, and then when you push changes to your repo, the CI system is watching your repo for pushes, and then it picks up that YAML file and then runs the jobs that are inside of it. So Laminar does not do that for you by default. However, we can implement that ourselves, I'm quite sure, through the magic of Guile Scheme, let's say. And so the idea that I have in mind is that we will set up a webhook listener on the server that we write ourselves in Guile that will listen for webhook requests from Codeberg repositories, and then if the webhook server recognizes the repository that the webhook is being sent from, it will initiate a job to clone the repository and then maybe load up the metadata for the builds that are inside of that repository, like basically the geeks.scm file or whatever else needs to happen. So we can kind of create our own system for that. Now, it doesn't have to be a completely comprehensive system. It can be something completely bespoke and useful only for our purposes, which is great because we're sort of system crafting here. We're kind of coming up with solutions for our own needs. So it just kind of fits into the whole grand scheme of things. So anyway, we can see that the way you define a job is just to create a bash script or any other kind of script, as long as it's an executable file with a shebang line. It can be any kind of script, which means we can also use Guile for this purpose if we want to, which I think we ultimately will. So the way that you trigger a run is by using a command line program called Laminar C, Laminar C Q, and then whatever the name of the job is you want to run. So if we want to automatically queue this based on a webhook, we have to have something that's listening for changes that can then run this as a shell command. So Laminar, because it's meant to be simple, it doesn't give you like a webhook functionality built in. They're letting you do things the Unix way and use another tool to be the listener for the webhooks and then sort of tie these tools together. So you do end up building your own kind of custom CI solution for this. Maybe you think, oh, that's not such a great idea. Maybe it's not, but I think it's worthwhile to try to think a little bit about how this could be useful. And then try to build something cool with it. I mean, that's kind of like what I would like to see for myself, is like, how can I do something that's completely unique? All right. Aerism says, Curious can build VMs, app images, Docker images, etc., etc. Just define your own CI module for the custom Curious configuration. Oh, really? Custom your own CI module. That actually sounds pretty cool if that's possible. I mean, we're gonna stick with Laminar at first, but if Curious turns out to be something that is more appropriate because we can just write, like an extension in Guile Scheme and have that load in, that would be pretty awesome. So it's good to hear that that's possible. The manual for Curious, though, has been pretty light on details I've seen, at least based on what I looked at so far. I haven't really dug into it significantly, but I didn't see that there was any kind of extensibility there unless I missed it. Jafer says, writing Laminar jobs with Guile shebangs is a neat idea. I think it could be cool. We'll see how it goes. All right, so let's see here. Let's get the Laminar service in. So Guix continuous integration. There we go. This is not the devel version. Devel, no, wrong. Okay, there's a Curious service type, and then there is a Laminar service type down here as well. So, Laminar service type, I mean, that's pretty much the basics of it. We might end up, well, we'll see. We need to configure this thing first. Bind HTTP, the interface port or Unix socket on which LaminarD should listen. So we're gonna wanna set up a reverse proxy for this also, I think, because there's a backend for looking at jobs that have been run, and we're gonna, I don't know if I want to expose it to the public yet, but we'll consider it. Let's say we'll maybe consider it. But we do need to change that bind address because we have a few things going on in the server. So we don't want to, like, you know, have issues. Home directory for job configurations and run directories. We might change that too. Actually, maybe we need that where it is. Supplementary groups. All right, let's just get it started. So this is the Laminar configuration. Laminar. We first need bind HTTP, and that's going to be not 8080. I'm going to say this is going to be 8085. Why not? Because we probably aren't using anything else in the server on that port. Bind RPC, don't really care too much. Title, let's change the title. System Crafter CI, why not? Base URL for links to Laminar itself. I'm going to put base URL https ci.systemcrafters.net. Archive URL, we don't necessarily need that yet. Keep run deers. Integer defining how many run deers to keep per job. The lowest number of ones will be deleted. Default is 0, meaning all run deers will be immediately deleted. We'll think about that after a bit. Home directory, let's leave it as is. So there's not a whole lot to configure here, which is good. We might need to think about the home directory bit at some point. But the thing is, it seems like since it needs run directories, we can't make that be a directory that is stored in the Guix store. So whatever jobs we end up having are going to have to get placed under that folder path somehow. So we might need to do something creative to have Guix put them there. We'll have to see about that. Otherwise, we can just sort of do it manually at first. We can just sort of edit the files directly in that folder just to get it working and then figure out how to get Guix to deploy them correctly. Because we do want them to... I saw a joke in the IRC. We do want to have this all be reproducible, right? We don't want it to be something that's sort of one-off. Hey, RetroPixel. Jafer says, writing Laminar jobs with Guile Scheme is a neat idea. And now Cortani says, you guys are reminding me of Ricky Martin right now. Actually, we're reminding you of the guy who was singing Ricky Martin on, what was that show? I'm not good with all of the singing shows. American Idol, is that it? Yeah. All right. Yes, thank you, Trev. Trev knows all of them because Trev is like the biggest reality show fan that I know. So I knew Trev would pipe up with the right answer. Okay. So that's the Laminar configuration. I guess I should probably try to... Yes, I'm thinking of William Hung. That's correct. America has talent. I don't think that's the way it's pronounced, is it? Now I'm showing that I know things I shouldn't know. Okay. We also need an Nginx service type configuration for Laminar to do reverse proxy for the front end because we need to have access to it to see what's happening. Let's see. Let me jump over to... Trev says, I was very into the real world for a while. I mean, that's a pretty 90s thing, you know? Like, real world was kind of cool back then. So, let's see. Sites, emacs-packages.scm. What do we have in here? Nginx service type. That's the, yeah. All right, Nginx server. We're going to need both these, actually. Wish there was a clean way to put a new service into from another service. Let's see. Where's the Nginx? So this is Nginx stuff here, which is pretty straightforward. We have a proxy pass configuration. I kind of want to just put this almost like it's a service extension and not drop it directly in the Nginx service type. So here's what we're going to do. Simple service. I know this is not the best way to do this, but I'm doing it on purpose, okay? So just chill. So simple service, CI Nginx config, and Guix simple service. Simple service, let's see. Simple service. All right, so the name and the target. So it's the Nginx service type. So we're going to drop in another Nginx server configuration. So what I'm doing here is I'm effectively inlining a service extension. I'm inlining a service extension that normally would be coming from another service, because Guix services can extend to other services. I'm sort of faking this right now because eventually I'm going to move it into its own service definition. We're just going to kind of like do it on the fly for a second. I might regret this choice, but we'll see. So we don't really need a root on this, I think. I don't really know if it matters. ci.systemcrafters.net. And server name is going to be ci.system. That was the wrong kind of systemcrafters.net. All right. And then we're going to we're going to do a reverse proxy to port 8085 because that's the port that I'm setting the Laminar front end, quote unquote front end, to be bound on. Let's see. And then we also will need the SSL part, but we're going to forget that for now. We're not going to worry too much about getting SSL set up. So we got the Nginx config as a reverse proxy. If we deploy this to the server, and I set the DNS correctly, which I haven't done yet, we should be able to get to the domain. So let me actually go on another screen here and set up the DNS because I haven't done that yet. So I'll jump over to Cloudflare real quick. All right, so let's see. Who was your favorite contestant on The Real World, Trev? That's probably a dangerous question. Don't tell me it's Puck. I guess you'd have to be alive early in the 90s to know who Puck is. All right, let's see. DNS. I want to check my DNS domain. No. I don't manage the DNS from here, do I? DNS records, okay. Need to remember the IP address too. Sorry, I know this is going to be boring for a second, but trust me, there will be a payoff. Trev says Puck was season 1, and I was too small to watch it, so I guess I'm just that much older than you. Is that what you're saying? That's okay. I've accepted that I'm becoming an old guy now. I don't want to hear any grumbling from any of you who are older than me. Okay, I found the IP address. Let me go drop in a record, an record for the IP address and CI. Yep. No proxying, thank you very much. Now I will save that. All right, so I've got a subdomain set up with an A record that points to this IP address. Jerry says Grubel. All right, let me check on this side then. All right, I think we can go ahead and try to deploy this. And I got to remember where I was doing it before. Probably eShell. Not certbot. Was I doing it in MetaX compile? Nope. Oh, I think I had a script, didn't I? No, I didn't have a script. Grumble. What are we talking about? All right, so ANSI term. Was it an ANSI term that was doing this? Yeah, maybe. Pushing. No, that's container stuff. So, Guix time machine -c channels.scm deploy. Pretty sure this is how I was doing it. Deploy system crafters. Oh, I need to do a -l too. That's right? Yeah, deploy -l dot system crafters slash, I think, machines slash contabo1. Let's see what happens here. I don't exactly know what's going to happen. Oops, grumble. Old guy can't spell. Why is it taking so long to do this? Should I have done that? What's in the channel file? Commit 0787. Is that the one I'm using in my own configuration right now? No. Whoa. Config Guix channels. Channels 0787. Is that right? Whoa. My channel file got totally screwed up. That's interesting. And neither of those is 0787. So clearly my whole channel file is screwed up. But I haven't actually like tried to pull anything in a while, so maybe that's why. Let's just let it run, and I'll be patient this time and see what happens. The trick about doing anything with Guix in videos or streams is that at random points, it just wants to chew on stuff for a while and just take a long time. So unfortunately, we might have to wait for a minute on this. I'm trying to think of what I can do in the meantime, though. We could try looking into the Codeberg webhook format. Using webhooks. Webhooks can help you automate working with your repository, implementation templates for the following services. Let's see, using read the docs. Tutorial that works with read the docs. Show you how to build your documentation every time. Oh, okay, sure. Why? That's not really helpful, is it? I want the format. So we can configure the webhooks. That's all great. Branch filter. Okay. Test delivery. You confirm that everything is working as it should by selecting the webhook that you just created and clicking on the button test delivery, which will manually trigger your webhook. Okay. Let me think about this for a minute too. Finally. You know, this thing with the side windows in Guix is such a pain in the ass. Sorry, in Emacs. No, I wasn't doing it that way either. So sometimes I have to like jog it a little bit. I go to dot files, git fetch. It needs to authenticate. It will authenticate here. And once it finally unlocks my key, then I can go do the thing I was trying to do in the side window. It's just a thing with pin entry. Okay, whatever. E shell. There we go. Let's do it one more time. Now it's deploying. Let's see what it does. In theory, this should actually show the Laminar web page to us when it gets deployed on the CI endpoint. So we'll see. Let's see. Oh, Laminar service type unbound variable. Sure, that makes sense. I probably need to pull in the continuous integration services. GNU services. I'm pretty sure it's called continuous integration. Let's go to Guix services by name Laminar. That is under services/CI. So let's go back to server, service modules, and then CI. GK Suda says, this reminds me I haven't updated my channels in almost a year. Well, you've missed a lot probably. All right, now we're gonna go back over to eShell and try to run that again. All right, we're getting there. This is generally the process of deploying something using Guix, is that it tries to build all the pieces that are necessary to send to the server, and then it just copies them over to the server, to the GNU store on the server, and then it activates the new server configuration. So let's see, ci.systemcrafters.net. Potential security risk ahead. That's actually a good sign because there's no SSL certificate. Let me take the S off there. Okay, I think Nginx is automatically redirecting. That's fine. Accept the risk and continue. No. That's not what I expected to see. Why did Nginx do it that way? Did I screw up with the config? Let me check main server. I swear I put it right. Server name, ci.systemcrafters.net. Root, yeah. Wonder why. Why would that be the case? Let's check the IRC. Nick's cool guy says, do you still use perspective.el? Probably haven't used that in like 2 years, I would say, at least. G says, do you ever use Emacs on Android? Yes, I do. I use it using Termux, so in the terminal, basically. So, just trying to wonder. I'm wondering why Nginx is not sending me to the right domain here. There's a Termux GUI variant for Android. Yes, there actually is an official Emacs Android build that has a Termux build along with it that works better with the GUI build of Emacs, but I haven't actually tried it yet. All right. Let me see. 8085, it shouldn't be exposed. Could be exposed though, who knows? Yeah, that's timing out at least. Let's actually check the server too to make sure that generating some login errors, by the way. What's that mean? Add certs on that domain. Might want to implement some login throttling. You mean SSH? Yeah, I need to throw on, what was it called? Fail to ban, because I am having issues with that for sure. So we're going to SSH into the server. And then we're going to check var log messages rep laminar. Sure, fine. Sudo. Yeah, it's running. Sudo herd status laminar. It's running. Tried very different obvious login creds. It's not throttling you. Yeah. All right, so it should be bound. So Laminar. Thank you, Osloy. Remember to ring the bell, like, and subscribe. Yes, thank you. Base URL CI systemcovers.net. I wonder if it's because I don't have SSL set up right. So let me just try to do that real quick. Go here. I'm going to copy the certbot configuration. Let's do that. We're going to copy that config. We're going to drop it into main server, kind of the same way, using a simple service CI certbot config. It's going to be the certbot. Get out of here. The certbot service type. Certbot service type. And we're just going to paste that in, and we're going to change this to CI. Crafters.net. All right, so got that. Now that we are going to set this up, then we can use the SSL certificates after that. I don't think we can set it up right now this way. That we're going to do it like as a two-pass approach. Systemcrafters.net. Let's see if we can actually make some progress here, because okay, we got that. We're not going to enable it just yet. Let's deploy the first step first. All right, so Nginx deploy hook on, let's see, what did I do here? Okay, Nginx deploy hook oh, right, got it. Okay, so I need to copy the hook that I have here. This thing needs to be shared, probably needs to be put in a module somewhere, but I'm just gonna drop it up here at the top for a second and fix the parens. All right, that's fine. Okay. Got that. Okay, getting there. So what else? Yeah, Codeberg CI format or webhook format. Is there like an API, Codeberg API documentation? It's probably more of a Forgeo thing. Webhook. Webhook. Hook. Oh. Hey. I guess we would have to just let it send us something and see what it looks like. Maybe the more practical approach is that. All right, so we deployed the server again. Let me check the logs. All right, we got the CI certificate for, sorry, the SSL certificate for the CI endpoint. So I'm gonna go back, we're gonna run it again. Now this time to actually put the certificates online, because we couldn't do that before, those files weren't there. I think it would have actually... it would have probably crashed the configuration. So we're gonna deploy it one more time. All right. Almost there. Let's see what that does. Now with that in place, I'm hoping that the redirect works correctly, but if it doesn't, then maybe I'm just misunderstanding something fundamental about configuring Nginx. All right, let's see. Still going there, and it doesn't seem to have the certificate set up correctly yet. I really feel like it's sending to the wrong place. Should I be explicit here on this configuration? Okay, bind HTTP. Bind. Laminar, bind HTTP. Default is 8080. All right, 8085, 8085. So, anybody got knowledge about Nginx configuration? I wonder if I can actually take a look at it if I knew where it was. Maybe the URI thing. So look, Nginx location configuration for reverse proxy. Get out of the way. Man, I hate these pop-ups so much. Server name, localhost, listen 8080, location slash. Nginx multiple subdomains. Reverse proxy. All right, so listen, server name, servers, different servers, sure, yeah. Okay, the location is all slash. The proxy pass is all to different ports, which is what I expected. I should be right, right? PSOX. Hey, Chris. Nice to see you. So let's see. It's a good idea. Let me go over in PSOX, grep Nginx, and the configuration file is cat gnu store ljws. That's it. All right. So we have a server, listen 80, 443, staging, emacspackages.com. All that looks right. Root index, 8080. Oh, well, that would explain things. Did Nginx not get restarted? Let's try that. Sudo herd restart Nginx. Yeah, it's a different config file. Let's take a look at that. Well, how about that? There's our CI page. Okay. Thank you, Chris, for the tip that led me to understand that there was a problem. All right, so we have our Laminar CI dashboard here. Now, obviously, we don't have a ton of time left to mess with this, but we can actually try some things. So we can just try to put together a job. And let's see, what is the best way to do that? I want to try problem accomplished. Thank you, Purple G. Got to hit that restart. I think that the trigger didn't work to restart the server or restart the Nginx server, but maybe that was actually correct. Maybe that was what was supposed to happen. Kind of weird though. All right. So I need to edit some files on the server. Obviously, tramp is the best way to do that, but can I do a sudo through tramp? All right, let me try to do this. It was var lib laminar. So what is the syntax? Emacs tramp quick start guide. Yeah, I always forget the syntax for this. So /ssh colon 45.10.162.156. What? Is it colon? var lib laminar. Oh, I need to set the port. How do I do the port? Port. Is it hash? Okay. That's wrong. choked so hard on trying to go backwards in the terminal. I don't know what just happened there. So let's go port. What was it 2222? What did I say it was? Where is it? 2222. What? Anybody remember the port syntax? Yeah, hash for port. So, it's not 22. Yeah, there is 2 colons. It just keeps injecting something in there. Okay, all right. I think that there's something else specific going on here. Wow, how did I break that? I'm very confused. SSH user at, okay, thank you. Colon user, yeah, thank you, duck killer. All right. You can tell how little I use tramp. So user at host. Why does that keep happening? This time, maybe? Couldn't find a proper ls command. That's probably because I don't have... do I have core utils installed? I must have core utils installed. All right. So anyway, what did I break in this file? All right, cool. Here we go. Just trying to get my brain back after I had that whole embarrassment. No command error. Yeah, I saw that. Okay. So we'll just SSH back in. I guess I could be SCPing things around, which is kind of not the greatest in the world, but yeah, whatever. So first, let's think what we want to do. I could try to clone the emacsPackages.com repository. Actually, I don't really need to do that, do I? Because Guix can just build it. Or I could just build it. Do I have the package definition still in there? Let's see. Emacspack. No, sorry. Codeberg.org, systemcrafters, emacsPackages.com, right? I said I don't use consult. Yeah, I don't use consult. All right, so I have deploy, and then there's a server config. Oh, it has a package inside. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do this. All right. I think I could probably just deploy, or I could try to pull the System Crafter's website with the package that I started working on. I mean, it's not going to work, but at least we can check it out. So I'll create a configuration that does this. A CI configuration that does this. We will just be able to run it directly. So if I were to go into, maybe I'll start with bash first, even. So let's go back in there. I think I have Emacs in here. So if I run Emacs, terminal type foot is not defined. Let's see, set term. No, export term. It is xterm 256. Is that right? $256 color. Is that right? Here we go. Finally. Okay, so we're in Emacs on the server. Maybe that's the best approach for now. We're in a foot terminal. I think we're okay. All right, let's see. Find file /var /lib/laminar. Permission denied. How do I do the sudo thing? Should I just do sudo Emacs? Is that really a bad idea? Well, let's just do sudo Emacs. All right. var lib laminar. Now we're in the folder. Laminar.sqlite. That's a SQLite file. That's interesting. What did this say? Jobs. There's a jobs folder. All right. Yes, I know Tramp knows how to sudo, but I've been having trouble tramping, so let's just avoid that. Jobs trigger the following scripts may be executed: job/job before, run after. There's also a general before and after. So let's go for build se site. Dot, what did they call it? Dot run? What was it called? It could be called anything, I think. Defining a job, hello.run. Jobs/hello.run. All right, let's just do that. So .run. And they say to use bin bash. Now we're gonna have to see if bin bash is here. Maybe it needs to be, well, let's see. Let's see, bin bash. -ex. Good God, I'm keep hitting the wrong workspace. All right, so now let me grab git clone branch. I think there's like a -b -- branch. System crafters / system crafters site. And then cd system crafters site and Guix build -f geeks.scm. Let's just see if that works. It probably won't, because I think that the build script is kind of in a busted state right now, but it would be worthwhile just to kind of check it out. So now that we have that set up, I'll run an ANSI term inside of the terminal. Okay. So I will run Laminar. Oh, really? So it's not in the profile. Let me check. Packages. I didn't put Laminar in the profile. No wonder. Okay, so let's do that. To have the Laminar C program in the path, we need to have Laminar in here. Let me make sure that Guix packages by name. Come on. Laminar is in packages CI. Okay, that makes sense. All All right, there we go. Not that. We do need to redeploy it though. So let's just redeploy, because we need to deploy it with that that package added in the config. Sue/path, maybe so, maybe so. Techno says always better to use user bin in bash. Yeah, that requires extra configuration in Guix for the user bin env thing to show up for bash, I believe. So I'm trying to avoid it for now. Did I screw up the path? Oh, I need to change to the file. Yeah, okay. Deployed SE main, cool. So now Laminar C. Hey, it works. All right, cool. So that is Laminar C run. Build SE site. Fail to start job. What does our website tell us now that we actually have a website? Okay, so it doesn't say anything yet. Laminar C run, build SE site. Let me check the Laminar docs again. Oh, Q. How about that? Start. Failed to start job, then why? Build. Oh, I didn't make the dir. Make dir jobs. Let me go back actually. Make dir jobs. And then the run file, I'm gonna kill this buffer. I'm gonna move build SE site to jobs, cd jobs. And then you try to run it again. Failed to start job again. Oh, config/jobs. Jeez. Build SE site 1. Let's go look at the website then and see what it says. Ah, there it goes. It actually automatically updated it. And then we've got a little log here that says something, never. Last successful run, never. Okay. Number 1, failed to execute. Okay. That's not very helpful, is it? Why did it fail to execute? How about I just try to, oh, chmod x. That could have something to do with it. Also failed. This is going great. So how about I just do config jobs, bad interpreter, no such file directory, ls bin bash. All right, so that does make sense. User bin env bash. Okay, so maybe we do need to use that. So let's go back. Also, user bin env bash ex. How do I give the ex parameter there? I think you have to pass the extra params a different way. Nice to see the server changing. It's doing stuff gradually. Let's see. I think that the EX, oh, -S. Yeah, okay, that's right. So user bin env bash dash s dash ex. Is that right? Another fail. Oh, no such file or directory? Okay. Env takes dash s. Okay, thank you. Is that right? Git clone. Oh, git command not found. Well, that makes sense. I need to put that into the profile. Guile, TLS, version control. Okay, we're gonna redeploy this. However long it takes. So once we have Git in the main profile, then at least it should be able to run the script. Okay, yeah. And then maybe I need Guix in the main profile too, but it's already there, so. Wow, okay, sending some more stuff now. Almost done. Is that it? Okay, that was it. Now, let me run it again. It seems to take forever. All right, so we're cloning. Does the Guix build work? Oh, wow. Okay, I need to do a shallow clone on that probably. Guix build f geeks.scm. Is that going to work? If this works, then we can at least run the CI job. And then I guess we could say we've got a CI server set up. It doesn't take webhooks yet, but it can run things. All right, since we see it working, at least, let's try to run the actual job and see it running on the site. All right, so we got a build started up, and it says it's failed again? How? Bash, no such file or directory. But we just ran it. How in the hell? That's so funny. So let me put bash in the main profile too. That could actually help here. So just drop bash in. This is the last thing we're going to try, then we're going to call it. But I do feel like at least we showed that it is possible to pretty easily set up a server and have something basic running on it. Let me see here. Where is bash? Bash. Bash is in packages bash. Great. We're going to put it right over here, bash. Almost there again. All right. Chris says, this ought to work. Yeah, I say that a lot, don't I? Peter says, can't the build run in a profile from the manifest and the Git repo so the dev dependencies are only managed in one place? We will be doing things like that. Trev says, we're really riding the DevOps train this week. We're trying. We're trying to do some stuff. I can't trigger reloads from here, so I'm going to have to do it on the server. So let me just run the build job again. Still. Why? Bash, no such file directory. What are you talking about? It works from the console. Ooh, it doesn't clean up after itself. Interesting. I think I need to be using a specific environment variable to control where I clone things. Benoit says, can you have jobs inside the repo you want to build? Not by default. You kind of have to set that up yourself. All right, look, I'm out of time. I got to go help out with a little bit of childcare stuff here. So I'm going to commit what I've got so far up to the repository. That is the systemcrafter/server configurations repo on Codeberg. I'll put that. Oh, Chris says you might need to restart Laminar to have it see new things in profile. I believe Chris. So let me just try sudo herd restart Laminar. Let's try to run it one more time. That'll be pretty funny. Right at the last moment. Where is it? No, I don't think it worked. That was a good suggestion, but it didn't work, unfortunately. Okay. So I'll commit this to the repository, and we'll probably continue to be hacking on this on the Crafter Hour streams on Mondays and Wednesdays. So definitely take a look at those if you want to keep following on what we do with building our own CI system. I may try to use Keras at some point too. We'll have to do a little bit of pros and cons on that, but it could be pretty good for us. And the last thing I'll mention before I get off is the $50 discount on these hands-on Guile Scheme for Beginners course. If you want to learn how to write Scheme and specifically Guile Scheme, check this out. Go check out the page for that. I think it's linked. It's linked in the show notes. So if you click the link in the description, goes to the show notes, you can get a link to it there. Automatic $50 discount on the course. It's on demand, teaches you everything you need to know. At least for a beginner to Scheme, it teaches you everything you need to know. It doesn't teach you everything, but you know, it had to stop at some point. Anyway, thank you all for being here today and for your time and attention. Hope you all have a great weekend. Until next time, happy hacking. See ya.